Hey everybody, welcome to the show, Buffalo Plus YouTube channel, 13 Wham Facebook, Mike Catalana and Dan Fetes. Jenna. Jenna's got a little time off, a little family stuff that she's taking care of.
Some things are bigger than sports.
She'll be back this weekend, so don't worry. You're stuck with these two jokers here to talk about the game.
There's no sanity. It's just loose cannons here. That's all that's left.
Yes, we let her keep us on the straight and narrow.
Yeah.
We're going to talk about this game with the Steelers. We're going to talk about some issues with the Bills' offense. And Dan, you and I describe it probably this way, is they've set the bar pretty high.
Yes.
So we're going to keep that bar high.
Yeah.
They got to be better.
We discussed it on the Buffalo Plus podcast. That was also on the Buffalo Plus YouTube channel. Like, comment, subscribe. But we talked a lot about the fact of there is more to be desired by this offense, and we can be somewhat critical of Josh Allen and the play calling and the lack of a running game and all of those things because, look, they are 3-1, but I don't think anybody is sitting here going, this offense is humming and looks great.
All right, so that's part of what we're going to be talking about. You're going to hear from the players, all those things. And you know the way this works. We're going to take a quick little break. We will be right back.
Buffalo Plus, your interactive look at the week in football, brought to you by Connors and Ferris.
Hey everybody, welcome to Buffalo Plus, presented by Connors and Ferris. Mike Catalana, along with Dan Fetes. Jenna Cottrell getting a Veterans Night off, so she will be back getting ready for the game. The Bills and the Steelers come up. We welcome everybody watching us on the Buffalo Plus YouTube channel, on the 13 Wham ABC Facebook channel, or on television in Rochester, in Buffalo, in Syracuse, in Albany. We know the Bills are a popular team, and that's what we're going to be talking about as the game gets going. And Dan, here they are, a quarter of the way through the season. They are 3-1. Where do you think this team is at 3-1? They like to break everything into quarters.
I think there is a lot of room to improve, and that's a good thing that we can sit here at 3-1 after some tough games, playing 3 out of 4 on the road. But Mike, the offensive issues are part of this concern because this has become an offensive juggernaut that we have come to know these last 2.5 years. And you and I both said it today. It just doesn't seem easy. It seemed easy in Kansas City. It seemed easy against New England in the playoffs last year. Things just haven't clicked yet. And that's okay, but I think we can also address the fact that they haven't yet.
Yeah, and we're talking about it right there. Big plays on offense. Now, those first couple of weeks of the season, against the Rams, especially in that second half, and against the Titans, they got those big plays. A lot of them going to Stephon Diggs, who has made those. But there have been issues with this offense in terms of the big plays. Again, Diggs making them, the long passes, the big touchdowns, getting down the field. But you said it. It's been tough. It's been tough for Josh Allen to make those plays because things just aren't coming easy to them.
We always talk about offensive coordinators, really good offensive coordinators, give their quarterbacks free completions, easy plays where the quarterback doesn't have to think. It is just one read, throw it to this guy. A lot of the time, unless it's been to Stephon Diggs, it has been Josh making something out of nothing. There haven't been those easy completions that we have seen at times. Injuries are part of this. I also think it's also new offensive coordinator and Ken Dorsey. I think he deserves some of the blame, but I think it's learning curve for him.
Yeah, and there's changes too. There's different things going on in the offense, and there's a young guy who's going to get an opportunity to play. And I think a lot of fans are excited about getting a bit of a glimpse of what he can do, and more is coming probably this week.
Yeah, with injuries is another reason why there haven't been as many explosive plays. But Khalil Shakir made 2 nice plays in the second half in Baltimore, and he's going to get more chances. And, Mike, when we first met him at rookie minicamp, he introduced himself to us, said, "Hi, I'm Khalil." We're like, yeah, we know. He is a calm, cool, collected guy, and I asked him about that this week.
I'm definitely the most quiet one in there. I laugh a lot. That is one thing. I'm laughing pretty much the whole time. But I guess, you know, when I was growing up, my dad one of the main things was to control my emotions. So, you know, even the other day, Diggs and them were talking about, I can't tell if you're nervous or not or how you're feeling. And me, I just laugh and, you know, this is how I am. How I'm talking to you is how I am 24/7. Just keep it cool, chill, laid back, person, and this is who I am.
Keep it cool,
Yeah.
chill, laid back kind of person.
Yeah, it's not too difficult to be the quietest one in that receiver room.
Yeah.
With
We
Diggs
agreed that it was McKenzie.
and McKenzie. And you know what's funny is Gabe Davis, I think, was a little quieter when he was a rookie too, at least
Yes.
publicly. And now, you see a little more from Gabe. The other issue with the offense has been a pretty obvious one, right? With
Yeah.
this team, they are not good at running the football.
No.
No.
We can go on, and this is nothing new for me, but the struggles have been even more apparent when you think of the fact that Josh Allen has been the Bills' leading rusher in 3 out of the 4 games this season. They have no consistent push up front. It is a lot of problems, much like the fact that we said, there aren't that many big explosive plays. Could be injuries, could be play calling. All of that goes into this again too, Mike.
Yeah, there's no doubt about it. Now, look, we know what they are, and we're not trying to be negative here as the 3-1 Bills get set to take on the Steelers. But if you're a team that has the aspirations to win a championship like the Bills do, every bit of that offense, they needed to be performing at as high a level as they think they can get it. This is not a running team. It will never be a running team, but they need to do a better job. And you know who wants them to run the ball better? You know who does.
Yep.
It's Sean McDermott. Sean McDermott, look, he's got Josh Allen. He knows it's a passing team. He knows all those things can make this team score a lot of points. But ask Sean McDermott about Josh Allen being the dominant guy running the ball for his team. Here's what he had to say.
Listen, we're always going to do what we feel like we need to do to win, and so is Josh in this case specifically. Outside of that, big picture-wise, it's important that we can develop an added dimension to our offense. And so, answer to your question is, I'm not overly comfortable with that being the stat week to week, or as much as it has been.
I'm not overly comfortable with it.
A little honesty there.
Yeah. 2 reasons he's not comfortable with it.
Yeah.
One, you've got running backs on this team. You got an offensive line. You brought in Aaron Cromer to run the offensive line with the thought that there was be some blocking schemes and a mindset a little bit that can help improve the running game. And the other thing is, look, Josh Allen is a monster running the football. He does things so well. And you talked to Mitch Morris this week, and what he talked about, what Josh does.
Yeah, I asked him if he was overly comfortable with the fact that Josh has been the Bills' leading rusher. This has been something we have talked about in the Bills' locker room for the last few years. What can you do to get the offense going? And Mitch made a good point to me when he said a lot of the plays where Josh runs, they're scrambles. They're not designed runs. There have been fewer designed runs this season than there had been with Dorsey, or than there was with Dable. And that was something that McDermott and Dorsey wanted to address. But as we said before the season, once the ball is snapped, McDermott and Dorsey have no say on what Josh Allen is going to do, and Josh Allen is going to Josh Allen.
Yeah.
And that means taking off sometimes.
But there is 2 parts to that, because Allen deciding to run usually ends up as a positive for the Bills. It does.
Yeah.
There is the risk for Josh Allen. But the secondary part is that, come on, you got to be able to run the ball more effectively with the running backs. We're not talking about a team that is going to ground and pound here. They're going to make their money on Josh Allen throwing the football to Stephon Diggs. But on the other side, there needs to at least be a level of competence. Because, Dan, if you take Josh Allen out of the run game, statistically, the Bills are one of, if not the worst team at running the football with the running backs.
And look, and we're nitpicking here, and I understand the Bills are 3-1. There is plenty of room to improve. That's what we're talking about here. But when you look at teams like the Green Bay Packers or the Philadelphia Eagles or some of these other teams, they can run the ball along with throwing the ball. Their offense, and I do agree, for as much as I am team don't run the ball, there are teams, and there is a way to do it effectively to add another dimension. The first down runs, Mike, we talked about it, the fact of if they get 3 yards, we're sitting there going, it's a good run.
Yeah.
It's a good run. And that's sad. That's scary. That's where the level of concern is.
They don't have dependable plays in the running game.
Yep.
Maybe they can get it going. Some of you want to see James Cook, maybe eventually, but they've got to be able to trust James Cook in the offense before they give him a more prominent role. All right, they're playing the Steelers this week, and that means Mike Tomlin. You're going to hear from the Steelers coach. He's talking about a Bills player, and will you see what he said? He's an alien. Who's he talking about? When we come back on Buffalo Plus Live. All right, back on the show. In case you missed what we said at the beginning, Jenna not here this week. She will be back this weekend. Plenty of time for her, and we'll have her pick on the game coming up. What do we got for comments?
Okay, Michael Reiner saying, no hoodie. If we lose, it is Dan's fault. They are in the laundry. And this is also changed up last week. 2-7-1 of my best bets. Change it up. We'll just change it. We'll just change it up.
So we believe the hoodie impacted the laundry at the house and impacted your bets for this week.
Yeah, Michael K makes two really good points here. The first one, Dan Fetes is clueless. I liked that one a lot. The second one is that this offensive line was built for pass protection, and that's
He's
part
right.
of it.
Yeah.
Like when you look at the Patriots, you look at the Eagles, big offensive road paving linemen.
Yeah.
That is not the Bills. That's not Ryan Bates. That's not Mitch Moore. So I agree, and that's why there is some level of concern of when can they or what adjustments they can make.
Well, one adjustment they make, and you've talked about it, is using your passing game as your run game.
Yeah.
And they're pretty good at that. Little short passing game has worked. Sometimes it's Diggs, sometimes it's McKenzie. They've gotten it to Singletary. But come on, there's times you just want Josh to be able to hand the ball off and get 4 yards.
Yeah.
And it's kind of pitiful for an offense with this much talent.
Yeah, and like I said, I think there's a lot of hope that James Cook, again in the comments, people saying, he can get it going. And there's also a couple comments saying that, well, Duke Johnson, could he get some things going on third down? Look, I don't think it's as much as the back as much as it is the identity of this team as a whole. I don't think there is one piece. While I joked around on Twitter, I do mean it. If you could go get Saquon Barkley for a third-round pick, I'd do it. I think he could improve the running game.
We'll see. I mean, they got a little time for that. We'll see if Daboll and the Giants keep winning, if they want to make a move. All right, you know the drill here. We're going to take a quick break and be right back. Welcome back to Buffalo Plus Live. Mike Catalana, along with Dan Fetes. It is the Pittsburgh Steelers coming in. And Dan, it's the Pittsburgh Steelers, 14.5-point underdogs against the Bills. You don't see this. No,
this is... Kenny Pickett is going to get his first career start for the Steelers on Sunday. It'll be the first time Sean McDermott and the Bills face a rookie quarterback this week. Sean McDermott 7-3 in his career against first-time quarterbacks. This is a guy that's got, like, I think they call it moxie.
Yeah.
Is that the old term?
Yeah.
It's got some swagger to him a little bit.
Yeah, he does. I mean, that's a reason they're 14. The reason I say that you just don't see it is because this is the Pittsburgh Steelers. This is a team that never has losing seasons.
Okay, gotcha, yeah.
And at the same time, they've never been 14-point underdogs. Now, Mike Tomlin's going to be in that locker room telling everybody, and this is one of those times that nobody believes you can win. I mean, when you're a 14-point underdog in the NFL and you're the Pittsburgh Steelers, this has to gnaw at you. But you can see how it happened, the combination of them struggling, going to the rookie quarterback, and going against the Bills team that is really good. Yeah.
You said that the Bills used to aspire to be the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Yeah.
They have grown up. They have adapted. That's where I don't think the Steelers, over the last few years, have been able to make those adjustments into the modern-day NFL. I think they're stuck. They got stuck with Ben Roethlisberger, and I think they're trying to figure out some offensive issues now.
Yeah, and the reason I said, the Bills wanted to grow up to be the Steelers because stable organization. One, created a culture and had a quarterback. The Bills now have that with Josh Allen. The Steelers had it for years, recently with Ben Roethlisberger. And now they moved to Kenny Pickett. So you talked about the guy with the moxie, the swagger. Talked to Jeff Hathorn. He's from the Fan Radio in Pittsburgh. He's been covering the Steelers for a long time. And I asked him a little bit about what's going on in terms of them offensively and what they do, and in terms of what he can end up doing. First, let's hear from Kenny Pickett to talk a little bit about what he expects as the starter for the Steelers.
Guys said when he walked in the huddle for the first time in his NFL career that it was like he had been there before. Like he understood the situation. He knew how to communicate with guys. He's got this, the really good quarterbacks have that charisma, that swagger. Some of them take it over the top, and then some of them, can deal with that and still be, decent humans, if you will. And I think Pickett falls in that category.
Yeah, that's Jeff talking about Kenny Pickett. And, I think there's that hope there in Pittsburgh that he can be that guy for them.
Yeah, and this Bills team, you said it. The Steelers, everybody talks about how the organization, that they don't see them as this little brother or this team that has really kind of struggled over the last 2 years. Von Miller, who is the wise man in the locker room, he always brings knowledge on Wednesdays. We asked him about what it's like facing a rookie and why Von says he's not taking anybody lightly.
A long time ago, I just stopped, calling guys rookies and treating guys like rookies. And this is pro sports. Everybody's a professional, and to play at this level, you have that it factor, and you have talent, and you could, on paper, you could be the next Hall of Famer. So, I like to give everybody that type of respect.
He completed all 13 of his passes when he came in the second half against the Jets. 3 of them were to the Jets, but he is a guy that we saw a couple of throws that he had that he got leveled and got up laughing in the defensive lineman's face. That is the type of guy. We talked to Damar Hamlin and Dane Jackson, who were both his college teammates at Pitt, and they all said the same thing when I asked them about it. He's a competitor. He's confident. He's gutsy. All of those things. He's not the Taylor Heineke wild card. I think you know what you're going to expect because there was such a large sample size of him. But like Von Miller said, anybody, they're in the league, they could be a Hall of Famer.
All right. Speaking of Von, again, Mike Tomlin, who is just a great interview when you hear him. When he's in full Mike Tomlin mode, talked a little bit about what it's like facing Von Miller.
Some guys are aliens visiting from another planet, and that's just the reality of it. Man, in the National Football League, man, you got to respect all these guys, right? They're all freaky. But some guys are even freaky in our setting. And he's just one of those guys. He always has been since he came out of A&M, moving and changing and running like a corner. He needs no endorsement from me. His resume is his resume.
His resume is his resume. The standard's the standard. If you got red paint, paint the barn red. Tomlin's always great with his
names. And by
names.
the way, you have to say Von Miller. You can't say Von. You can't say Miller. You have to say Von Miller. Everybody always refers to him first and last name.
He's that level.
He is.
It's like Mike
level.
Catalana. He's that, that's it.
No way. He's Von Miller. We're taking another break. When we come back, Stefon Diggs talks about the Karate Kid. Really? So a little inside baseball there. I kind of shifted the rundown unintentionally.
Yeah, and Rusty, our director, right on cue.
Stay right with us. Yep. Look at that.
He's right on cue with us.
That's what happens.
A couple of comments coming in. They expect a lot of sacks. Ramadan Shakir says we should have no less than 5 sacks and 2 interceptions. I think there's an opportunity for interceptions. Von Miller, who is complimentary of everybody, who loves everything, said that this will be the best offensive line that the Bills have faced this season.
I don't believe that.
And I don't either.
Yeah, I don't believe that.
But that is what he says.
And I think the Bills can get pressure with 4 in this game, drop guys into coverage, and Jordan Poyer, I don't know if you guys heard, Jordan Poyer, if he gets to 13 interceptions, McAfee from Indianapolis is he's going to give $1 million to his foundation. 13 interceptions would be the second most in NFL history, but there's going to be a couple balls up for grabs in this one, I think. Again, in coverage, I think.
A couple more comments coming in. People asking how Gabe Davis looked at practice. Much better.
Yeah.
Much better.
Listed as full, too. That's a big thing.
For the last 2 days.
Yeah.
Sean McDermott did say that, look, he hasn't been playing as well. He had some drops in Baltimore, that he hasn't been 100%. Gabe has said that it has been frustrating. He's dealing with that ankle injury, but he says he feels the closest to 100% that he has felt in a while.
Yeah, and look, it impacts the guy. I mean, he's a tough guy, but he's out there playing hurt. He's dropped a few balls that normally doesn't happen. I think you'll see him come back strong this week, because he hasn't been healthy, helping out Diggs. That's what's been missing from this passing game, that second guy offensively. All right, another quick break. We're going to give an injury update, and our predictions are coming up shortly. Back on Buffalo Plus Live, Mike Catalana, along with Dan Fetes. We welcome all of our viewers in Rochester, in Buffalo, in Syracuse, and in Albany, and everybody watching us on the Buffalo Plus YouTube channel as well. Dan, let's talk a little bit about what this team is dealing with. Let's go right to the injury list, brought to you by UR Medicine Sports Medicine. And Dan, every week it is a lengthy list that we take a look at.
Yeah, 13 guys missed some level of practice this week. Here it is through Thursday. A couple of interesting ones here. Jordan Poyer did not practice on Wednesday or Thursday. He's dealing with a rib injury that he suffered with that game-saving interception in the end zone. You saw him on the sidelines grimacing in pain, as well as Tremaine Edmonds, hamstring injury that has come up. And then Dawson Knox, he had some bandaging on his ankle on Thursday's practice. Another one to keep an eye on for. The good news, as we mentioned, Gabe Davis, full participants early on in practice, as well as Isaiah McKenzie, who was able to ramp up through the concussion protocol.
Yeah, we'll see if he gets all the way through, and you'll know this certainly by the weekend. When you look at some of those injuries, you know, guys that have hamstrings, and that's something to keep an eye on. Teams usually do not push a player with a hamstring, so we'll see what ends up happening. There's Isaiah in that red jersey. I saw him after the game down in Baltimore, running off the field, diagnosed with a concussion, but he looked pretty good. I know he made a public appearance this week. He's Isaiah, so he's going to keep talking. But again, they're not messing around with the protocol. They have to get through it. And the players that are injured. And Dan, this team, this franchise has had to kind of get used to this year. Because they've been very healthy through the past few years. This year, it's been basically every week dealing with it.
Sean McDermott has always said that you can grow from adversity. They have had plenty of opportunities to grow with the lengthy injury list we have seen. And especially the wide receiver room. Jake Kumaro, Jamison Crowder, both guys that are injured. Somebody's got to step up. And we asked Stephon Diggs what it's like having to handle all these injuries. And he quoted a classic movie.
You know, we're going to have to battle through some things. You know, we have a tough schedule. And no game is going to be easy. So do what you can. If you got to go see Mr. Miyagi or do whatever you got to do, get your body right. But just stand on those guys. They'll be fine. Working through it, I call it growing pains too, because you're going to go through it. Everybody's going to go through something. It's all about how you can overcome, especially being a team that we are, having injuries and being able to muster up not only courage, but that next man up mindset.
Wax on, wax off. You had to get the leg up in the air.
We asked him, who's Mr. Miyagi? He said he can make some calls. That was what he said. He's got to get in touch with Mr. Miyagi. They go, who's that? He goes, I got some calls.
Yeah, Diggs, always an interesting interview when you get a chance to hear from him. But, you know, this team has had to deal with that.
Yeah.
But I'm telling you, this is the way the rest of the league lives, most of the league. And it's just I give a lot of credit to the Bills staff. They have done a great job keeping players on the field, prehab and rehab. But sometimes there's nothing you can do about it.
There's nothing you can do. And like you talk about how this has been so out of the norm in the Sean McDermott era here in Buffalo. We would show the injury report last year, and it would be blank.
Yeah.
It would be a blank screen.
Or a guy out for veteran rest.
Now we have to shrink the font down to fit on the screen.
Yeah. Well, a guy who's healthy and ready to go for Sunday is our sponsor, Greg Connors. We always talk to Greg about his thoughts on the game, and I asked him, how do you think this plays out, especially for the Bills' offense going up against the Steelers? Here's what he had to say.
Don't have the pass rushing core like they should have with Watt being out, and he just sets the stage for everybody else. Without him in there, everybody else becomes human. With him in there, he's superhuman. Everybody else, you know, the tide rises with him. I think this game is going to be 38-13. I think the Bills are going to put up 38, and I think the defense is going to hold rookie quarterback, not such a mature offense, to 13.
Yeah, I mean, the point spread shows that it would be, you know, if you're going by that, wouldn't be as close a game.
Also, did you know Sean McDermott, Mike Tomlin, college teammates?
Yes.
Did you know if
you might have heard that.
Yeah.
They played
Fitzpatrick
together.
went to Harvard.
Yeah.
It's been. Hey, hats off to everybody. Nobody asked a Mike Tomlin question to Sean McDermott this week.
Yeah, because he's been asked a lot about that through the years.
Yeah, I thought that was good.
I think the one thing we got to keep in mind about the Steelers, and we'll talk more about that because we're going to come back with our picks, is this team does have some offensive talent at the skill position players. And maybe they've needed somebody to unlock it. So it's going to be a little different team than we've seen with Mitchell Trubisky at quarterback.
I think you have Kenny Pickett to provide a little bit of a spark. He's the wild card. You don't know what you're going to get, but that's better than what you saw with Mitchell Trubisky.
And the other part of that is I don't think the Steelers know what they're going to get
that's
either
part of it.
out of their quarterback. Again, we're taking a break. When we come back, it's our turn to make our picks. Look at Josh. He always wins those races, doesn't he?
Wait for the celebration.
There he goes.
Fakes the injury. He's okay, everybody, I promise.
Yeah, it's a fake injury. Back with our picks after this. So if people don't know, he does that every practice, right?
Yes.
Yeah. And he races the quarterbacks.
Yes.
Has anybody, who used to beat him?
Davis Webb.
Davis Webb for
Davis
the Giants.
Webb's sneaky fast. He may be starting for the Giants this week, too.
But he's probably going to be in uniform, probably be ready to play for the Giants.
A couple comments about where is Jenna, once again, with family, taking some time off. She will be back here later in the week, but some things bigger than sports, so everybody's sending well wishes towards Jenna. You're stuck with us.
You're
good. Stuck with us.
She's just taking care of some things she needs to, so she'll be back. And she's getting a break from from
she doesn't have to
telling
try
us
it.
we're wrong.
Yeah, exactly. A lot of comments coming in about James Cook. I'm just not in the mood to listen to him.
Really?
I just don't think that
Here's what I think people don't get. He's got to earn some trust. And he's dropped balls, fumbled the ball. I know he had the 133-yard run, but that was in garbage time.
Like, this is what we're talking about. You have to have your coach have some faith in you. The offensive line, if they say they want to run the ball so that they can run forward, you have to earn it and not get pushed back all the time.
I think Melody's still talking to us. Oh.
What was said?
What was said? Oh.
Less than a minute. Okay. So what I'm saying is that James Cook needs to earn more opportunities.
And this week he could get
the fact of just saying give him the ball more is, I feel like, short-sighted, because when he's already had 2 drops and a fumble, what has he done to earn more reps?
Yeah.
That's what I want to know.
It hasn't happened for this team at running back, if you think about it. We'll talk more about that in a second. Again, very quick, go to black. We'll be right back. Back here on Buffalo Plus Live, Mike Catalana, along with Dan Fetes. We're getting you ready for the Bills and the Steelers. We'll have our complete coverage on the Buffalo Plus YouTube channel all weekend long as the Bills try to get another win and move to 4-1 on the year. Before we get to our picks, I wanted to talk a little bit about a lot of people getting comments about James Cook and being involved in the offense. And look, I would say this could be a day we see a little more of James Cook, especially if the Bills can get something going here. Maybe they have a package for him in there. But you do have to earn your trust in the offense, in the coordinator, in the head coach, and in the other guys on offense to take care of your business.
Yeah, and he really hasn't done that yet this season. I think that's a big part of it. Look, Sean McDermott is not afraid to sit a young player down and have them learn their lesson on the sidelines. We have seen it with Zach Moss. He had done it with Devin Singletary. That is kind of a trend. He did it with Isaiah McKenzie last year.
Yeah.
So you see those trends. Cook has to take his 2 or 3 opportunities that are game planned for him now and make a play.
And keep this in mind. On the positive side for him, he's active and in uniform every week, because that's another thing that can happen with all the injuries. They maybe bring a veteran in and then he doesn't get an opportunity. All right, time to pick the game. We're going to start with you, Dan.
Yeah, I think I'm going to take one of your sayings that you're probably going to say in your thing. I think this is a get-right game. I think this is a game that the Bills are the best offense that the Steelers have faced in the last few weeks. They have faced the Patriots, Browns, and Jets. Josh Allen, Stephon Diggs, Mitch Morse getting back. This offense is starting to be healthier. I expect more out of Gabe Davis after kind of limping through the last 2 weeks. I don't trust Kenny Pickett all that much. This is a game where you have the better coach, the better quarterback, the better offensive line, everything. Go out and dominate it at home. No excuses weather-wise. Bills win big, 33-17, and that's with a late Kenny Pickett, who cares, touchdown.
Yeah, I like the Bills in this one a lot, too. As they go into this week, I think the Bills, remember a year ago, the Steelers came in. It was a better Steelers team. They had the veteran quarterback. They had T.J. Watt playing in this game. They don't forget about that game. I have the Bills getting the offense going again, 35-13 to move to 4-1 on the year. All of our picks includes Jenna's pick for this week. She has the Bills winning even bigger.
Yeah.
She's got them 41-14 for Sunday. Hey, and remember, for all your Bills coverage, we talked about the Buffalo Plus channel. You can just scan the code right there, and it'll take you to the channel. We want you to enjoy the game coming up this weekend, a Sunday, 1 o'clock home game for the Bills, their first one this year as they take on the Pittsburgh Steelers. And Dan, as we go to the break, this is what you see at practice, right?
Yeah, this is sights and sounds. I think they were talking about tattoos. Nonetheless, they were flexing. Mike, you and I will be there on Sunday with plenty of more coverage.
All right, enjoy the game, and we will see you next time on Buffalo Plus Live.